everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com. This is Recruiting Intel. I'm Joe Cook. That's Coach Dub. That's Justin Wells. Appreciate everybody watching. As always, subscribe to the channel, like the video. We'll be bringing it all spring with recruiting updates as Texas builds its 2027 class, but also go to InsideTexas.com. Use that first link in our description, or use that QR code there at the top left of the screen. Sign up for just $1. We've already got prospects scheduling not just spring visits, but official visits in June. Those earlier and earlier every single year here in February, making plans 4 months out. So we'll have all those updates. We'll be talking about a couple of those today. So make sure you come to Inside Texas. Use that first link in our description. Before we get going, just a couple questions. Thank y'all for jumping in the chat. MJF, UT can add players to its team up until the first class day in August, right? The roster of 105, could we see occasional ads up to then and then forget the portal? Can't players just transfer between the semesters? Justin, you want to take that first half and I'll get to the second half of it?
Yeah, so yes, they can add players up into that time, and don't be surprised if they don't. Like they could add in some new guys that are just hanging in the portal and things of that sort. But it's not going 105. Like I think that's the goal down the road, maybe, but I don't think we're going to see 105 this year. I don't think it's going to happen in 2026. But you're not squeezed on that 85 either. Now you've got some wiggle room to add 3 or 4 different guys potentially, before that fall camp starts. And so I don't think that they're going to get to 105 just yet, but I like the wiggle room to add a few more pieces.
Yeah, they'll probably hover in the low 90s because once you get to 105, that's 10 more players, and that often costs a little bit of money. Yeah. And then can't players transfer between semesters? Justin, you and I were talking about this. I'll preface this with it's an NCAA rule that basically NCAA years are like fiscal years. They run August to July. So you can't play games for a team if you start your year in residence somewhere else. So like let's say, and that applies for pretty much every sport. Why can Cam Coleman suit up? Well, he's not playing games for Texas this spring. He'll be playing games for Texas in the fall. He won't run foul of that year in residence thing. But if somebody starts their basketball season at one school, I know there's been some individual cases, but for the most part, you can't transfer and play right away. Where you start your year in residence is where you are eligible to play. And then if you transfer out, barring anything crazy, I know the NCAA takes a lot of L's these days, but you can't transfer in between semesters, at least for football. You can't transfer in August and play right away somewhere else. That's the main thing I feel like you're asking.
And if you don't like the rule, just hire an attorney.
Yeah.
There's plenty on Twitter that'll do it for free.
Yeah. And then this will be a good way for us to start up our next conversation about official visits. Justin, is Easton Royal full on committed? He's committed enough to have scheduled his official visit already.
I think he's full on committed at 1:34 p.m. Central Daylight Time in the United States. Listen, the biggest thing about Easton, and he kind of let us break this last night, which I thought was kind of cool. The thing about Easton is that he doesn't have another official set. Now, I don't know if he's going to set another official visit. I have a good sense, Charlie. We're probably going to see this kid take a few OVs, maybe to the in-state LSU. Lane Kiffin's going to lap it up. Ole Miss, they still have a good connection there. Notre Dame has jumped into the conversation for Mr. Royal. That's something that you have to pay attention to. But that, to me, was the most substantial part of our post last night. It was, hey, yeah, he's taking an OV to Texas, and it's on this date. But he's not setting up any other OVs right now. It's February. It's early. But full-on committed, I don't know if I've ever seen a kid full-on committed. Maybe Sam Ehlinger. That might be the only one, and he almost flipped late in his recruitment. And so I don't know if I've ever seen one full-on committed, but Easton Royal is doing a tremendous job of assuring Texas fans and the staff that he's a Horn.
Yeah. Charlie, how big is it for Texas to like everything Justin said, there's going to be a lot of variables with this recruitment. But just to be in that position right now with the commitment and without, an obvious official visit set up to any other competitor, seems like it's a really good spot for Texas right now.
Yeah, it looks good for the optics. The number one receiver in the nation in his class. Like, he's the best player, right? On offensively, you ask me, that's any position, but maybe outside of a left tackle or two. But I mean, it looks good from the optics. But until Penn hits paper in December, yeah, I guess you're fully committed verbally until he starts setting up other official visits or he takes other visits, and then you hear reports of this team he's swaying this way or he's thinking about that. You just never know how these things play out, but it looks good right now, and I love it because he has no other official visits set up, and that stands out to me because the only one he set up is Texas, right? So that means that was first of his mind, or maybe Texas was aggressive and said, hey, let's get this set up before any other school, right? So it shows that, hey, you're our guy. We want you to stay in this class. So it looks good from the outside, and looking in, I just hope it stays that way.
Going to scroll down in just a second. Got to hit refresh on something because another Texas commit in the 2027 class, and that is Cam Hall from Mansfield Summit. He also set his date. It's on a different weekend, though, Charlie, which kind of gives us some indication on, again, like last year, maybe they're spreading things out a little bit as they try to disperse commits along with uncommitted prospects throughout every weekend in June.
Yeah, I mean, having 2 different days, you never know who they're trying to pair kids up with, right? Hall may be a verbal leader who can help recruit for the defense side, and maybe more defensive recruits come on that day, and then more offensive recruits come when Royal comes. So you never know how they're going to, split this thing up. It could be by state or just by choice when the kid is available on top of that. You just never really know. But I'm glad Hall's in the class now. He looks like a strong person to stay maybe in his class. If you want to say somebody who's fully committed, I mean, him and Coach Lyle Clark have a strong relationship. He called him his guy, like that's his uncle, man. And so, he jumped in as soon as that offer was committable. But I think they got the 2 different dates set up. Just it's a variable of things. You just never kind of know why or rhyme or reason, but it could be a positive thing because they want to pair kids up together.
Justin, a lot of different schools pushing in-state regional rivals, national teams. And he even said we could see Hall's recruiting stock rise when new rankings are released. Looking forward to seeing how he ends up in whatever Rivals says, looking over some spring intel.
Yeah, man. Listen, Cam Hall, just watch his tape. Like his rating isn't right. Look, I know it's early, but a lot of these 2027 rankings seem to be off. I mean, real off. Ty Knutson is a 4-star if I've ever seen one in my life. He can't get a Rivals ranking. Cam Hall is another one that I think is going to climb up. And, they may call it the Texas bump. You know how it used to be whenever Texas would offer a kid or get a kid, they would get an extra star. At least that was the joke or the folly. But I actually think this guy's going to get a bump. Like, I think Hall's going to increase. He's too big. He's too athletic. He's got a great base. There's I think a lot of different ways Texas could use this kid. And so for a kid with that type of tool belt, I just think his rankings, this is one in particular. Some of the guys I'm pretty good with, but this one in particular, I couldn't remember if I saw if he was the 44th or the 42nd edge or something like that. I just said, no, that ain't right.
I'll have to figure it out. Maybe somebody in the chat can help us. And then last but not least, this is an interesting one. Jeremiah Douglas from Crandall, currently committed to Vanderbilt. They've picked off some good players from the state of Texas in recent years, including, I think, Cedric Alexander is one that stands out to everybody. The tight end.
Eli Stowers.
And I know Stowers transferred all over the place, but someone who, made his name at Denton and Geyer. But here, Vanderbilt is Crandall East Texas?
No, not really. It's more, what would that be like? It's not South. Is it West Dallas?
You can say further West Dallas. It's past Terrell and Forney, right? So let's keep.
Yeah. It's over there by Segaville. It's actually,
and
then Segaville is over there on that. Oh man, I don't know what that area is
called.
Would
the Daily Telegraph cover it or the Morning News cover it?
Oh. That's a good one.
Oh, it's it's really in the
middle. I don't know.
It's in the middle, yeah.
And I went to Crandall. I was a Crandall Pirate in 3rd grade. So I understand where Jeremiah is coming from. You see the athleticism on the tape and on the track. That's how we relate.
We'll have to ask Brandon Ogden if he's been to Crandall, and that'll tell us the answer one way or the other. But Vanderbilt commit has an official visit down already. You know, you mentioned, does he have an offer, Justin?
He does have an offer. I don't know if it's committable right now, but he does have an offer. Texas really likes him. We know for a fact, according to a couple sources, Texas really likes this kid. They're going to keep him as warm as possible until they need to turn the flip switch. Yeah. And when they do, they'll either flip him or they won't. It'll be very similar to the Aljor Miles kid last year that signed with SMU. Was it Kaufman? Yep. I think it was out of Kaufman. Texas offered, kept him warm for a while. If they wanted to turn on that flipper, they would. If they didn't, they didn't, and they just let him go to SMU. I think it's going to be the exact same thing for Jeremiah Douglas. Douglas wants to play for Texas. He did. Vanderbilt's great. He wants to play for Texas. They're not in the waving him in period yet, but the fact that they're bringing him in for an OV confirms what we have talked about, that, hey, this staff really does like him.
Yeah. Anything with it feels like, Charlie, this is just a really, really good year for Texas, aside from Easton Royal, to not really have to look too far outside the state lines and get what they need.
There's three around this area that they can grab, Charlie.
Yeah, look, you got a number of guys in state. You can go to Forney, Texas, not too far from Jeremiah, and go find Bryson Thrower. You can go kind of west to Argyle and go get Julian Caldwell. Like there's so many different kids in the DFW area that you can go in the 27 class and go take a look at. And they all got similar builds. Maybe Thrower was a little taller than both of those guys, but man, they all got something in common. They all got the exact same trainer, Marshall Hooks. And so they are familiar with Texas program because they talked to one Longhorn in particular, and Dalen McCutcheon, because he also shares the same trainer. So they all got something in common. Guys who can probably come in day one and, know the route tree. I'll tell you that.
One other visitor, not an official visitor, but yet a very, very important one. That is Honor Falave Johnson from San Diego Cathedral Catholic, I believe it is. Justin, we had our guys at Rivals. I think it was either Greg Biggins or Adam Gormy report this the other day. Lots of visits for Honor Falave, and Texas is getting him at the end of March.
Yeah, so Honor's going to make a lot of trips. I think he's going to see like 10 schools in March and April. Listen, I got to tell you the truth. This kid might be the best player in the country, pound for pound. Like, show me a weakness. Show me. Like, oh my gosh. I love this kid so much. And then you look at his list, and there's a reason. He's got Miami. He's got LSU. He's got Texas, USC, Florida, or Ohio State, Alabama. I mean, this kid, he's going to pick wherever he wants to go. Let's not forget, Will Muschamp made him a priority when he got the job. He headed to San Diego pretty quick to go and see this kid and hang out with him for a bit. And so, he's super, super, super talented. I mean, rangy. I'll be totally honest with you. He looks like one of the more recent Notre Dame safeties. Just combination of speed, agility, smart, and with a pop. He's just lit up a guy. He runs 22.7 miles per hour, and he just hit a guy like that. He is special. He's going to have his pick of schools. Texas has laid the foundation. Now, in Steve Sarkisian style, he just has to lay the course.
Is he an athlete or a safety? Because he
plays both. You can't run that fast and not play on offense. It's not allowed in high school.
Look at all the safety they're recruiting. They all are athletes. They play offense. All of them have great ball skills, but they're projected to play safety. And so he's another one. But I think they absolutely have a type at safety. He lines up everywhere. I would call him an athlete, but he's definitely going to play safety, and that's what you want, honestly. I'm not calling him Earl Thomas, but Earl was an athlete in high school. He did it all at West Orange Stark too, and then he became Mr. Everything at safety. So.
I'm trying to figure out. I don't know much about San Diego football. It's obviously a huge city, and lots of it kind of reminds me of San Antonio football wise, and it's probably got a lot of obviously the military influence, but there's probably a lot of well-funded and well taken care of programs. But just because there's so many across the entire area, and not like a true standout, like if you go to LA, there's Mater Dei, there's Bosco, there's that whole Trinity League. Maybe it's just kind of spread out everywhere. Maybe I'm kind of just projecting on that. part of me is kind of looking at him and thinking a little bit of Caden Stearns. Caden Stearns went to a 6A school, or maybe it had been a 5A school at the time, that didn't need him playing on offense. Things are probably a little bit different here, though. And there's athleticism and speed at that size.
There's a toughness angle, I think, that's different between those two. There's a toughness angle. I don't know if Caden Stearns was ever as tough as this kid. We'll find out. I don't know. I do like that comp from a defensive standpoint, not from an athletic standpoint. I do think he has those kind of instincts, and Caden Stearns had really, really good instincts. He just lacked mental and physical toughness. I don't think Honor is going to have that problem. But that's the difference in those two guys. Like I'll tell you who else he reminds me of. That Joel kid from Lathan Ransom out of Arizona that went to Ohio State. That to me was the closest comp that I could find. Like I think that kid because he was more of a downhill kind of kid. Caden was more of a in the back, paying attention, kind of watching everything. These two right here are missiles. They go downhill, they hit the alley, they go fast. So I like the safety comp, but Honor is. I'm going to do him an honor and let him know that he is a 5-star athlete because he is.
Before we keep going, got to show some love to Rhoback. Use that code TX20, RHOBACK.com. That gets you 20% off your order for all new customers. They got Longhorns gear. They've got the best performance polos. They've got great shorts and joggers. They got everything you may need to get geared up for Monday through Friday and then for Saturday as well. So you see us wearing their stuff all the time, wearing their Longhorns gear, wearing their just their rec gear. Everything is great from Rhoback. So RHOBACK.com. That code TX20 gets you 20% off for all new customers. And once you're a new customer, you're going to stay a customer. Charlie, time to go over something you wrote today. And Ansel, I got to be honest with you, we're going to disappoint. What do you think the class of 27 will look like on the defensive side? Charlie's working on that.
Yeah,
we got a really great breakdown for the offensive side. So, hey, good reason for you to come to Inside Texas, sign up, because Charlie's going to have a similar breakdown for the defensive side of the ball as what we're talking about here today.
And he'll probably have Honor on it too.
Yeah. Is it fair to call this like a best case scenario for Texas?
Really best case.
Really best case. My starting 11. If this is who I want in the class, here's my starting 11. Here we go.
All right. We got Ty Knutson. We talked about him on this channel when he committed on Saturday, unranked. And I think that's not a snub quite yet. It's just,
right.
I don't think he's won 2 state titles, man. I don't agree.
He has.
Against big time competition. I don't agree.
And they have big offers out, but this is a big offer too. I wrote about the other day. Texas has kept their quarterback offers very, very precious in the hope that whoever gets one sees a big reason to jump on it right away. And less than a month, Ty Knutson commits, and Texas has a signal caller for the class.
Yeah, definitely. Look, number one thing, like you said, he's a winner. I think that above all things stand out to me. But he can operate this offense efficiently. He has the RPO game down. He runs a ton of it at his high school. He's mobile enough. He can run and go get a first down. But he has a really, really good arm. Man. He can put the ball in tight windows, tight throws down the field, all that. So I think he fits. He can operate from the pocket, which is huge for Steve Sarkisian. He fits that offense like that. But if you ever get in trouble, he can take off and run too. He might try to run somebody over. So I like this kid a lot. And so he's the only quarterback in this class, and so that's why he's my starter.
Charlie, do you get a Cade K. Klubnik vibe, or do you see something else?
I don't know. Cade seems like more of an athlete to me. I don't know. Cade can go from maybe 60 out. I don't know if this kid maybe will go 60. I know he does look like the one who just won the state national championship at Fernando Mendoza. Like he kind of looks unorthodox like that. Like he looks like him and plays like him. I give him Fernando Mendoza, who also can run and has some toughness to him.
Yeah.
We'll go to running back. 2 picks for you. One is Lathan Wissington from Waco Midway, just made his way to Texas. The other is Landon Williams-Callis from Richmond Randall. We know Jabbar Jaluke and I think Steve Sarkisian and a couple others went down there not too long ago. But let's start with Wissington. This is from a program that has produced a lot of great players in the past. A handful have ended up – I can't think of any that have ended up at Texas, but they've produced a lot of D1 players. Wissington, 5'11", 195, and someone who you're obviously got some to include him in this list in the best case scenario, you like what you see from his film.
Yeah, I could have went a lot of ways with this running back. You know, I could have went with Sarab Beck out of DeSoto as the number 2 guy. Like,
I'm shocked you didn't.
You know, I based this off of Jabbar Luke just went by and saw Washington. So I thought, okay, hey, they built a relationship where I didn't see him go by and visit DeSoto and visit Baker. So I'm not sure what the relationship is with Baker and Texas at this point. So that's the only reason he's not up here. And so I'll go with some guy who can get it done. Kind of fits what looks like Hollywood Smith and Raleek Brown. This kid can catch out the backfield, hit the crease and go. I think he kind of fits as that kind of a backfield threat type of running back compared with the number 2 guy on the list I got up here. Or not number 2, but just the second running back.
Justin and Charlie, I want to get you after this. Do you think Texas they're going to look for running backs that fit every scheme, but are they going to try to maybe, I don't know, profile more towards guys who run a lot of outside zone at the high school level? That's tough because I know outside zone is maybe not easy for these guys.
Well, I think that's a good question. I don't know that answer. Like I think they're profiling for bigger bodies, to be honest with you. Like I really do. And then I say that knowing they brought in Hollywood Smothers and Raleek Brown out of the portal. But that was the trend of what they were. That was the Derek Cooper. That's the Jet Walker. That was like the mold what they were fitting in that last class too. And you could kind of see how they needed that. They needed Jarrett Gibson to have, you know, to kind of take that over, and he wasn't able to. I don't see that. I think they're just going to have to be versatile. I think they're going to have to be able to do a number of things. Like, James Simon, he's not an outside zone guy, outside zone at all. And he's learning that right now. And so it helps, but I don't think it's essential.
It does seem that I kind of think about it like that's not easy to get 5 high schoolers caught up to speed on, you know, whereas inside zone, it's like, all right, guys, move forward. And that's if you want to do zone things. And then if it's not, it's like, all right, pin and pull. Hey, buddy, you pin and you pull. Like it may not be something that's really translatable to the high school level. So maybe I'm getting out over my skis here. But someone versatility, Justin, Landon Williams-Callis. And this is one where Texas has some ground to make up. And even though they have ground to make up, it'd make for a great 2-back class if he's able to, if he does end up picking Burnt Orange.
He's the best running back in the state for 2027. He's in the conversation for in the class. I don't know how great he's going to be in college. With these types, it's hit and miss sometimes. He's so strong and so explosive and so dynamic that you feel like he reminds me of like a LaMichael James, like, or he does remind me of somebody like at Oregon that kind of fits into what they do. I think the school he picks is going to be instrumental in if he's going to be an NFL running back. I really do think that, because you do have to consider the size. Like he is he's a little booger, okay? And he's been a little booger for a long time. He's got the genes. He's got the DNA. He's got all the tools you want. I think he's going to be special. I'm curious what his college career is going to look like. I don't know if he plays as a freshman. I feel like he's got the ability to, but I also, at this day and age, with that size, I think it's something you got to kind of scheme him in, per se.
We kind of went over Easton Royal earlier, so I feel like that's covered. He's a 5-star, number 1 receiver. Yeah, any best class scenario is going to include him. And Texas has him in that class right now. But let's go over who you want to add to this class, Charlie. You added Bryson Thrower from North Forney. He'd been to Texas. I think was there for the last junior day. 6'3", 175, a little bit more size, and someone who obviously has a good amount of even though that there's 3 stars to his name, wouldn't take that to mean he's less than not as good a prospect. Like, this is someone who could play ball.
Yeah, definitely. That rank is definitely going to change. You ask any coach around here around DFW who's the hardest cover, and they're going to say Bryson Thrower. Can nobody guard him? You can game plan for him, double team him. He has like the punt covers like Dez Bryant and Calvin Johnson used to get, and you still can't guard this kid on Friday nights. Chris Jackson came down to Forney to go see him, and so I know he likes Thrower a lot, and so you pair him with a bigger receiver on the other side of Royal, man. Who do you guard? And I think this gives you a big play receiver on the opposite side who can win 50-50 balls, but also can beat you with speed and route running too. So it just kind of gives you that bigger body that you can use the opposite side of Royal, who does everything.
Justin, call me crazy, but I think it's probably worth an idea for Texas to push hard for this kid before he does blow up.
That's not crazy. That's actually that's well said. He's not going to remain a 3-star. He is going to be one. Listen, if you have any question about the talent in DFW, you should watch the Super Bowl on Sunday. You should have saw the NFL Honors Show on Friday night. It's everywhere. Bryson Thrower's in that category. You know, we're so used to the big 5-star names, the DeCorian Moore, the Evan Stewart, guys like that. Thrower is not far off. He's just not in the same system, not in the same – he doesn't have the same exposure. I think it would be a really smart – especially with Royal, you already have your ceiling at wide receiver. Why not get your floor? Why not knock it out? I could see Texas pushing early for a kid like this in like a Freddie DeBose type situation where he jumps in a May and a June after an OV. I think that's smart, Joe. I actually see them doing that. I think they want their receivers done by August. I don't think they want to be fishing for wide receivers in October, November, December. That's playoff and portal time. So.
All right, Charlie. You said you're making a best.
This kid's freaky, man. I just watched his stuff,
and we were just I was just mentioning about like, okay, does Chris Jackson really need to leave the state aside from Eastern Royal?
Yes,
there are guys like in Argyle, at Shadow Creek,
Pflugerville Weiss.
Yeah, Trey Moore. Like there are a lot of great players, but you go to where Jeremiah Smith's from, where Derek Cooper's from, where a lot of great players are from. Mm-hmm. With Amari Stevens out of Chaminade Madonna. Why'd you choose him over some of the guys that Texas has been looking at in state?
Chose him. He just put Texas in his top schools. Other than that, I'm looking for a true slot, and this is the guy. You can use him jet sweeps. You put on orbit kind of motions. He can do a lot of things. You can line him out the backfield, motion him out. And he's a mismatch. He's a problem. Like he catches the ball, he gets it in his hands. He can make multiple people miss and go to the house. Like he's a special kind of cat. And the fact that he just put Texas in his top school, I put him in there because he's a true slot receiver. Right? I got my bigger outside guys and put him in the slot, let him create a mismatch versus a nickel or safety, and it might strike with the band all day long. So that's the reason I put him in the slot.
I like it. Is it a player, Justin, you see them pushing for, though?
It depends on the NIL. It depends on the bottom line. I really believe that. And Stevens might be – I wrote about him yesterday or the day before. And he might be one of the ones that's leaning Miami. Like right now, Miami's got some obvious buzz in that area, and so I think Texas. I think they patiently wait here. I don't think they're going to push. I think they want to get him on campus. I don't believe he's visited yet. Get him in the spring, and then we can make it real. But right now, with the way a kid from that region, with the way Miami played last year and the momentum they already have in 2027's class, you're going to be fighting a little bit tougher for those South Florida kids. Is it worth using the resources and stuff like that? Right. That's kind of my point.
Yeah.
Tight end, Charlie, you got two. One's JT Gerasi from Don Bosco up in New Jersey. We know that Jeff Banks went up there not too long ago to see him, see some other teammates. We'll keep it pretty simple to move this one along. Wide tight end profiles as the more inline guy, already at 6'5", 230. We know Sark wants to run 12 personnel, wants to have a good blocker there. That's what his role is. Okay. For a little bit more of a flex option, you had Brock Williams from Libertyville, Illinois, someone who Texas is in on along with Georgia, along with Ohio State. I think Texas may be fighting a little bit of an uphill battle, but his skill set's something that you look at and see, okay, this is the H in whatever situation you want two tight ends on the field with.
Yeah, definitely the mismatch guy. You can flex him out. You want to go 12 personnel in the red zone, whatever the case, and make a team go base defense, put 3 linebackers on the field, he's going to destroy people. Georgia makes a killing on this every single year going 12 and 13 personnel. He fits. He looks like one of those guys that plays for the Bulldogs, right? And so I would love to have him at Texas.
Justin, this is one that we don't know when it's going to happen. He's been reportedly close to a decision for a while. Maybe it's been a hard process for him because he's got 3 great options, and at this point, the decision's been pretty tough for him.
It's a tough decision for a few reasons. He's got a twin brother, and that kid wants to play college ball. I think that's going to be a factor. He's not the same size or ability as Brock, but he's a guy. He's a guy, and I think that's part of it. Texas has been involved there. I don't think they've offered him, but they've talked to him. Also, Texas has the best NIL offer right now. And I think that's what keeps them kind of in it. And it's not the NIL that just keeps him in it. He really does love Jeff Banks, and he sees an opportunity at Texas. But those are factors, guys. We're in a new world now. Let's rip the seal off. Like, it's a factor. And their Texas offer is substantially larger than Georgia's right now. And so we'll find out. I think that's why we keep hearing he's getting closer, because I do think Brock kind of wants to get this out of the way and get done with it, because it can turn into a circus the longer it goes into your senior year. But when you're getting NIL offers like this kid is getting, it makes you sit still and just reassess the room, because these are big decisions. And we're about to jump into another tax bracket of NIL decisions. But Brock Williams, to me, I think that's why Texas is still in it. He loves Banks. He's been to campus a number of times. They're just battling two of the best programs in the country, Georgia and Ohio State. They just happen to be. And I do know this. If he commits to Georgia, Ohio State, say over the next few weeks, Texas is not letting up. They want 2 tight ends in this class, and they want that other one to be an elite. They want him to be a Brock Williams type kid. They're not going to let up. I wouldn't be surprised if the brother becomes more part of the recruitment as well.
Last but not least, we got to get into the offensive line. We've been going for 30 minutes, so we'll hit the highlights. But the left to right, Ismail Kamara from Gilmer, Brian Swanson from Dallas South Oak Cliff at left guard, Peyton Miller at center, Reed Ramsier out of Orlando First Academy at right guard, then Kennedy Brown out of Kingwood as your right tackle pick. Yeah, I really like that offensive line class. Sign me up for that as soon as possible. You may be, I don't want to say ruffling feathers, but it's a little bit compared to some of the rankings, maybe a little bit bolder take to put Kamara at your left tackle spot and Brown at your right tackle spot. But I think it's hard to look at what Kamara has done, what he is, who he is on and off the field, and think that there may be a better football player who plays offensive line in this entire class.
Yeah, and they got him listed as the interior offensive lineman, and that's just not going to happen. This guy's an NFL left tackle all day long. I think he could be a top defensive lineman in the class if he chose to play defense. Like,
yes,
he can do it all. Like, I think he went to a camp, didn't even play offensive line. He played defensive line and dominated everybody at the camp, right?
In December.
Yeah, the fact that he's going to compete in track, like, what can this kid not do? And I think he's still learning to play the game. That's what's the scary part, right? So, yeah, Kamara to me is that left tackle. Man, I wish my Patriots had him this past Sunday. I'll tell you that.
Maybe he has a little bit longer arms. Brian Swanson.
Hey, real quick on Kamara, just real quick. I had a source I'm going back and forth with here over the last few minutes. Kamara was measured in this morning at Gilmer's gym at 6'7", 340 pounds.
Where is it? Well, Brian Swanson, this is a player we've been talking a lot about. Lots of great reasons for why he profiles to Texas, took a lot of visits, saw Junior Day. I think all three of us have RPMs in for him to eventually pick the Longhorns. Just seems like someone who continues that South Oak Cliff to Texas pipeline. Peyton Miller, someone who is from Anna, Texas and Texas Tech battling here, Justin, for a prospect that really doesn't care what position he's playing, it seems like.
Yeah, Peyton Miller is, and that's why he's the center. The center's the smartest kid on the team. The center is the leader of that offensive. Usually the leader of the offensive lineman. Sometimes the left tackle may be the alpha of the group, but the center is what starts and stops it. That's why I like Peyton Miller. He can play left. He can play left tackle in college. He can play right guard in college. He's in a sense, he's like Kamara. He's not a one size fits all. He can do different things. I love him because he wants to play center. And you got to find a center take these days. In the past, you would just get a bunch of interior offensive linemen and figure out which one knew the calls the best. And that was your center. These days, it's more of a singular, deliberate recruitment. And Peyton knows that. That means he understands his value. That means he understands what he's doing. And the fact that Texas is having, some depth chart issues at center is why I think Peyton Miller winds up in Austin. Because Texas told him flat out at Junior Day, we actually need you to be ready. If you came here, we're going to need to get you on the field pretty quick.
Charlie, tell us a little bit about Reed Ramsier. This is someone who's not obviously from Texas, from Orlando. We do know Kyle Flood went out to go see him during some of the contact periods. Why him for right guard?
Man, I think he got wind of him when they were practicing down in Orlando. And he made a return trip back to Orlando to go see his kid in person when they were practicing for the Citrus Bowl. But you're not going to spend resources and time going to Florida, Orlando, unless you're going to Disney World. I don't think Kyle Flood was going to Disney World, but you made that trip for a reason. Ramsar is being heavily recruited by a ton of people, but mostly Florida State, Miami schools. But man, I think he fits. You want that kind of mauler right guard who can move, fit, tough demeanor. I chose him just because I love his film, but I feel like coaches don't waste resources and time going to recruit kids far off unless they really, really want you, especially in today's world with high school recruit where you're really being picky about who you want because you have the transfer portal. And so that's kind of the reason I put him there.
Last but not least, again, kind of the bolder take, Kennedy Brown to right tackle. And he is a top 5 prospect, I think, according to Rivals.
Guard!
You see the 6'3", 285. He's not grundoing. He's not done growing. He still has his senior year ahead of him. But I don't care what position he's at, Justin. Guard, tackle, left, right, wherever. You want him on your team. And that's, I think,
2 years ago, Charlie and I met this big joker.
Yeah.
And his hands swallowed us. And we knew then he was going to be big time. We didn't know he was going to be the number 1 player in the state, but we knew he was going to be good. Look, Kennedy Brown, I say it jokingly, Kennedy Brown can play guard or tackle, but tackle's his position. Honestly, if Ishmael Kamara is not on this list, Kennedy Brown's your left tackle for Charlie. Just ask him. He'll tell you. He won't lie. He's open. It's trust tree. But no, Kennedy Brown is the best. He's a smart kid. He's got a great handshake. I get Kelvin Banks vibes from him. Just a big boned, strong, quiet kid that just throws people around. And it does not hurt the fact that Texas took his linebacker teammate and buddy, Cade Haug, a few weeks ago. I think that helps. It doesn't hurt. I think it may help a little bit. But with Kennedy Brown, don't tell him he's playing right tackle. I don't think he'd want to hear that. I think most of those guys are predetermined to want to hear left tackle, and I think the NIL reflects that. But Texas is going – look, he's been to Texas a lot. He just hasn't been there recently. And I think the Horns want to get him on campus so bad in the spring. We're going to go see him soon. We're going to try to get the latest because everybody in the world wants that kid. But, hey, let's see what Brown can do for you if he can play right tackle.
I don't know how we top that. That's as good as it gets. So we'll have this, Charlie. I'm looking forward to the defensive one already. Should be a lot of fun as we track not only visits, but who we want to see get visits to Texas. Come to InsideTexas.com. Join for just $1. Use that first link in our description. Use that QR code there at the top of the screen. Come check us out. Going to be talking recruiting, basketball, baseball, all things football, with everything starting in a month as far as spring practices goes. Can't wait to see everybody there. So, Justin, Charlie, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com.